Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jonasz Lewicki. Security and aid to Ukraine topped the agenda at the European Political Community Summit in Copenhagen, with EU nations debating ways to enable Europe and Ukraine to withstand the constant threat from Moscow. Yet the discussion also exposed the many challenges of thrashing out a unified front on issues such as the European drone wall or the plan to use frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine's defense. Which begs the question: is the European Union going to trip over its own procedural shoelaces while chasing lofty political goals? Joining us here today is Piotr Kaczyński, EU Institutional Issues Lecturer, European Institute of Public Administration. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning.
Would you say that this summit was a success so far?
No, of course, the European Political Community meeting is not a success at all. What we have seen is just a series of arguments without any conclusion in times when conclusions are absolutely necessary. So this must have been very poorly prepared.
And what issues do you think caused such an assessment? Because apparently you're not the only person saying that this was a bit of a blunder, this summit. What would you say was the main reason?
The main reason is that we have again lack of a commitment, but not a commitment. Sorry, it's a lack of perspective, a common understanding of what is the threat, what is the situation. It's a kind of a chaotic situation in which plenty of world leaders that we see all around, they don't know what is the state of affairs in this triangle between United States, Russia, and Ukraine. Where are we with US and Russia? Trump and Putin. We have seen this absurd talk of Trump in New York a couple of weeks ago of pretty much offending every world leader out there. We have seen that there is some kind of a suspicion towards the European Commission that tries to the suspicion is that the Commission is trying to grab more powers for itself within the current environment. So there's nervousness, there's chaotic behavior, and the lack of step-by-step process. And in this regard, even the small steps that Antonio Costa, President of the European Council, has put forward are kind of invisible. He was denied, for example, on his attempt to smoothen the accession talks with Ukraine by removing the necessity for having a 100% support for opening talks with Ukraine and keep the 100 necessary agreement of EU member states when the talks are concluded, but not to start the conversation, the technical conversation that needs to happen between the Commission and the candidate country. And even on that technicality, Costa was prevented. So the only little, if any, not a success, but a step forward is a conclusion that the ministers of defense will meet more frequently.
All right, so let's address the elephant in the room. The European Union has been trying for years to use frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine. So far it is using the proceeds from these assets, but anything more daring actually is met with constant resistance from many different directions. This time around, it was Belgium saying, "Oh no! Before we do that, we need, we need legal certainty. We need solidarity." Do you think that Belgium is going to get what it wants in this regard?
It's a clear illustration of ill-prepared summit because everybody knows who are the concerned individuals. The same Belgium with Bart de Wever, the prime minister, right now is voicing worries, but the same Belgium had worries when the port of Antwerp was affected, when the diamonds in Antwerp were affected, exports, imports, and trade in diamonds. So those worries can be addressed, but somebody has to address them. And this is clearly a certain homework that has not been done properly by the Commission here, because the worries that Belgium has are not rational. They are very rational, and there must be a way to address those worries. And the Commission cannot just say you're wrong. Our assessment is different. The Commission and Belgium need to have a bilateral conversation about those matters, and the Belgians need to be certain that that their worries are addressed, as like everybody else's worries.
Well, of course, but we've had 3 years for
Yeah.
that conversation. So, how is it that this conversation didn't happen during that period?
Maybe because the Commission doesn't have the arguments. Maybe the Commission is trying to live in a world where there is some kind of a power grab, and power dictates the rules rather than the rules control the power, and that's not easy for anyone, because when it comes to countries like Belgium or even the Commission itself, it is mostly based on regulating and regulatory affairs, not dictating or power relationship. So the Commission here needs to have absolutely solid arguments that will go beyond the worries of one Belgium, and that's a lot of terra incognita. But I don't want to be defending the Commission here. I just want to say that this has not been decided because a lot of outstanding questions have never been answered by anyone. But then at the end of the day, this is nothing new. Commission and the European Union is regulating a lot of affairs for the first time that have never been regulated in human history. Therefore, this is not enchanted waters. Yet, we see that those worries are highly significant. On the other hand, of course, Belgium is wrong, not only right, but Belgium is wrong, because if you have international legal order in which country like Russia could challenge country like Belgium over Russian assets that are deposited in one country, and then Belgium is left alone to defend itself in, for example, arbitrage here or there, then this is so clear that Belgium just needs more protection mechanisms against such threats, and that is business as usual.
Isn't that a paradox? Because what we're left with is essentially we've got about 300 billion in Russian assets frozen across the world. The majority, over 200 billion, is frozen within the European Union, out of which the majority, again, is in Belgium, being held by Euroclear, which is contrary to what the name could imply. It's not a European Union institution. It is essentially a private entity with stakeholders, shareholders, people who actually will hold this company to account for its performance. So you've got so many intersecting interests, and yet all of that hinges on this relationship between the European institutions, as I said, the European Commission, individual member states, Belgium in particular having the biggest stake, and then within Belgium, a private company holding those assets. Why is that situation still there? Why wasn't this resolved in another way? I mean, it's as convoluted as it gets. And, if the European Union is known for bureaucracy, then you're adding so many more layers to the European bureaucracy there that makes the issue pretty much impossible to solve, at least, from a layman's perspective.
No. Let me stop you there. The fact that it is in Belgium calls for a Belgian solution. And only then should it be endorsed by the Commission and everybody else in the Council. If the Belgians are able to come up with a way of how to proceed with those resources, then it will be a non-issue, a no-brainer. Look, Belgians are the ones who came up with the very idea of how the European bureaucracy works. Belgium as a state is highly difficult to understand with its multi-layer governance mechanisms. Therefore, it is that we need a Belgian solution to this question, and probably others, including the Commission and the other member states, should give Belgium a new mandate. You have until, let's say, end of the year to come up with a proposal how to tackle this issue, since you do not recognize the Commission proposal as a valid one, and we're gonna hear from you. It were the Belgians, for example, who came up with the idea in recent years of rule of law conditionality. So there are ways that, and Belgians are quite innovative in the way they can look at things and deal with matters at hand. So I would have more trust towards the Belgian governmental structures to come up with a idea for a solution that can be then endorsed and proposed by others. Here the Commission was a little bit out of touch with the country most affected, and it shouldn't be. The Commission needs to, and usually it does, recognize who are the stakeholders here, and the biggest stakeholder here, Belgium, was not enough consulted or taken on board.
So we're slowly running out of time, but one more question. Against the background of this issue, it appears that the drone wall debate went much better, even though some people say, well, the European Union still doesn't really know what the drone wall would be about, apart from vague statements like protecting the territory of member states.
Right. I mean, here it's a race against time. This is a situation where we need those drone walls. I mean, is it a drone wall or whatever it is? The name is secondary. We need to have defense mechanisms against a Russian coming in drone threats, because we have seen that those threats were not only on Polish soil, but they were in Romania, they were in Baltic states, they were in Denmark, they were in Sweden, Finland, and Norway. Now we have news that also over Germany there are some incidents as well. So this is not something that we just can walk by. Also because the situation in the Baltic Sea is shifting very fast, very dramatically. For example, I can just give you two examples. If Poland is investing so much into its wind capacities in the Baltic, the security of those installations is of utmost importance because of the safety of the energy system in the country. Therefore, a security defense mechanism is necessary not in October, but September 2025 and months before. We have heard so much from Tusk and others when there was attack from Iran against Israel, drone attack some time ago, how effective the Israelis were about it, and that we need such a shield. The word shield was used at the time, is necessary. So
overall,
from
we
the
need to
citizen
actually
perspective,
expedite.
where do we need it?
We need to expedite
Fast,
all these efforts.
have it fast.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Piotr Kaczyński was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm Ina Ślewiński. You're watching TVP World. Please do stay with us.